Have you ever heard men complain that women don't go for nice guys?
That women don't go for nice guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Here and there, but not really. Yeah, no. I think everyone just kind of has like a perception of that they're like a good guy or a good girl, you know, and they just kind of complain that maybe people don't pursue them. For sure.
When you are too nice with women, it comes across as needy, comes across as weak and pathetic. When you are excessively kind and polite with women, they get suspicious. What does he want from me? Why is he being so nice? You will actually have more success with women, even high quality women, if you hold back on your niceness. In the early stages of dating, when you're flirting with a girl, it's natural to be sizing each other up. There's a bit of testing, a bit of teasing. It's playful, it's cocky. Flirting is a game, and you're not going to win by playing as Mr. Nice Guy. But in my Skype consultations, I've heard the same objection over and over again. I'm a genuinely nice guy. I really like being friendly and polite to people. Sure, I want to be successful with women, but I don't want to sacrifice who I am. I don't want to be inauthentic to what my true personality is. I understand that I could do what the pickup coaches are telling me to do, just act like some cocky jerk guy, and yes, that might make me more successful with women, but if it comes at the cost of who I truly am, then I'm not going to be able to enjoy it because she's not interested in the real me. I understand where they're coming from, I really do, but they're not seeing this accurately. They're looking at it from the wrong angle. So if this describes you, or you've been in this position where you feel like you need to choose between being true to yourself or being successful with women, then stay tuned. This is the video for you. Let me first off say from the outset that when you tell me that you're a nice guy, I believe you. I understand that there are women out there who don't believe in the existence of genuinely nice guys. They think that they're just playing at that so that they can try and trick women into sleeping with them. Of course, there is some truth to that, but to suggest that nice guys don't exist at all is just ludicrous. Obviously, there are nice people out there who just enjoy being nice. So if you tell me that your authentic personality is a nice guy, I believe you, but please believe me when I tell you that there is much more to you than just that. John Lennon said that every single one of us is Christ inside. Every single one of us is Hitler inside. Or Jordan Peterson when he talks about imagining himself as an Auschwitz guard, inflicting terrible acts of cruelty on other human beings and actually enjoying that violence, enjoying that power. The shadow is absolutely real. We have the capacity to enjoy acts of cruelty. And I'm not even saying that the shadow is entirely dark. There's beautiful parts to it as well. We have capacity for unbelievable kindness, love, and compassion. We can appreciate beauty at astronomical levels. So I'm not saying that deep down, secretly, you're a terrible person. I'm trying to make the point that you are not a fixed entity. You exist as a spectrum of potentialities. You might be a nice guy who has nice thoughts and is nice to people. And because that's your most consistent experience of yourself, you've come to believe that that's your true self. But that doesn't mean that that's all of who you are. You could be almost anyone. You could do almost anything. There are lots of men out there living simple, boring lives. They're married, they've got a couple of kids, kind of middle of the road job, and they tell themselves that they're happy, that that is an expression of who their true selves truly are, this nice, simple, boring life. But if you take that same guy and you put him in a position of power, influence, wealth, where all of these young, beautiful women are just throwing themselves at him, you might find that he discovers a very different part of his personality. Suddenly, he finds himself behaving in a way that he never before believed was possible. But that part of his personality has just been lying dormant as an unrealized potentiality. When the external circumstances allow it, that part of himself suddenly becomes manifest in a very concrete way, and it can plunge him into an existential crisis. He begins to wonder, who am I? Who is my true self? Not realizing that the experience that he had of his everyday personality was just one small part of him. So if a guy tells me, I'm a nice guy, I can't be cocky with women, I can't flirt with them, I can't tease them, I could never be openly sexual with them, that's just not me, that's not authentic to who I am. I sympathize with him, but I don't believe him. That part of his personality that is overtly sexual, that is cocky, that can flirt with women, that can tease them, that all exists. It's just lying dormant as an unrealized potentiality. And so when telling a nice guy to adopt a bit of game when speaking to women, it's not a case of telling him to be inauthentic and to pretend to be something that they're not. It's encouraging them to discover that part of themselves that does authentically enjoy that process, to become comfortable with it, and when necessary, be able to tap into it. Right now, you might not believe me. The thought of meeting some beautiful woman and being sexual with her, being flirtatious, teasing her, kind of being cocky, that might seem completely fraudulent to you. You'd feel like you'd be making a fool of yourself because it's so inauthentic. And that might be true for now, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be true in the future. It just means that there's a part of your personality that you haven't integrated yet. And why is that? How come out of all of the different potentialities, all of the personalities that you could have adopted, why has the nice guy persona been the most consistent? The biggest reason is probably that for the most part, being nice is just a sensible choice. When you're nice to people, they're nice back to you. Life for everybody is just more pleasant when we're friendly to each other. But I want to leave that aside for a moment and explore the darker psychology of being a nice guy. Before you dismiss this idea, I want you to ask yourself this question. Is there a possibility that one of the reasons that you're such a nice guy is because you're scared that you don't have anything else to offer people? Is there a fear somewhere inside you that unless you're nice to people, they're not going to tolerate you? You see, there's a huge difference between a man of value, a man at the top of the ladder, being nice to people because he's beneficent, and the low value man at the bottom of the ladder who's always nice to people because he's frightened that if he isn't, they're going to attack him or they're going to abandon him. For some men, being nice is actually a survival mechanism. You know, if you think back to caveman days, if you've got a man who's basically contributing nothing to the tribe and consuming more than what he gives back, he's nice to people because he's frightened that if he isn't, they're going to banish him or something. So what's the lesson here? Well, it's to get you to question the validity of your original objection. When you said that the reason that you didn't want to develop any game, you couldn't be cocky with women, you couldn't tease them, you couldn't flirt with them, is because you're authentically a nice guy. You need to ask yourself, is that really the true reason? Maybe the reason that you're scared to be anything other than a nice guy is because you have low self-esteem and you don't think you have anything else to offer. Or maybe you just haven't looked deep enough into yourself and discovered that there is a cocky, flirtatious, sexual part of yourself that's just as authentic as all the other parts of your personality. I'll leave you with this. If you're going to tease a girl, be cocky, be sexual, you have to make it authentic because you are playing a big risk, big reward game. In the best case scenario, she loves it and she goes home with you that night. The worst case scenario is that she hates it, she's offended, and she accuses you of harassment or something. Whether you get one reaction or the other is largely going to depend on how authentic you are. Women will not tolerate some low-value man teasing her, being sexual with her, awkwardly reciting some lines he heard some pickup guru on the internet say. If you're going to put yourself out there like that, you need to have rock solid confidence. The words you speak have to come from a place of authenticity. It's the only way you're going to pull it off. So get in touch with that part of yourself that does have high self-esteem, that believes that you're worthy of sexual attention from women, that can confidently assert yourself and your preferences. That is how the game is played, with authentic cockiness. And it doesn't mean you can't be a nice guy later on, when the relationship is established and she's invested in you. But initially, you have to realize that dating is a game. Attraction is a game, and you need to play to win. You wouldn't bring a tennis racket to a basketball match, and you wouldn't bring a nice guy to a dating game. What are you meant to do with anger? So many men have experienced disappointment in their lives. Family trauma, rejection from women, social isolation, the lack of empathy from the wider culture. All of this breeds resentment. Of course it does. And so men have a lot of anger, but what are you meant to do with it? What is a healthy way to express that anger? That's the topic of my latest video. In this video, I explain how anger makes itself manifest and what's a healthy way to release it. I also give practical recommendations, including the #1 way of releasing anger in such a way that it doesn't even feel like anger. It's just masculine purpose. For every video that I post on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon. That means that right now you're only seeing half of my total content. If you'd like to see this video and a whole bunch of others, then sign up to my Patreon. It's only $5 a month, and it's a fantastic way to support the channel. I really hope to see you over there.
Is it possible for a man to be too nice?
No.
No?
No. I don't think so. I think there's always kind of like that line where like you'll be able to tell whether it's like authentic or whether it's fake. And obviously once it's like fake, then there's something that you need to address. But I don't think there's such a thing where a guy is just being too nice to a girl or someone that they say they love. Yeah.
Are you ever suspicious of nice guys that maybe they're acting friendly but want the same thing all other guys want?
Yeah. For sure. And it kind of just comes back to that, like, authenticity. Like, you know, I feel like we kind of live in a society where we all kind of know what most of the guys are, like, chasing after. So that makes us a little bit more aware and a little bit more cautious with how we behave with guys. But I still think that there's guys out there that just have, you know, really good intentions. Yeah.